Hello everyone, we're just joining in the Little Nook by Fairy. Do like, share and subscribe my channel. Let's start our today's video. In the previous lecture we have discussed the life of William Shakespeare, then his major plays or work. In this video we'll discuss Shakespeare's greatness as a playwright. Two theories have been offered to explain the greatness of Shakespeare. The Romantic critics hold that in him all came from within, and that we owe his place to the overmastering power of his genius alone. Practical and unimaginative men, however, assert that in Shakespeare all came from without. He lived in a play loving age. He studied the crowds, he gave them what they wanted, and simply reflected their own thoughts and views. Of the greatness of his genius, there can be no question, but his outward influence were most powerful in developing his genius. The little village of Stratford and the great city of London. In Stratford, he learned to know the natural man in his natural environment. In London, he learned to know the social and artificial man in most unnatural of surrounding. Shakespeare's greatness and preeminence as a dramatist are universally recognized, but wherein does this preeminence lie? There is indeed hardly any glory of Shakespeare's drama which might not be matched by some other play of the period. Every element in Shakespeare's drama might in isolation be matched by the best of his contemporaries. What is distinctive about Shakespeare is his combination of all the gifts which were scattered in the works of other playwrights of his time. He is superior to others by his many sided curiosity and the extreme diversity of his talent. His genius was flexible to the marvelous degree. He adapted himself to the most diverse material and seemed to use it all with equal skill and enthusiasm. Into his narrative poems Venus and Adonis, The Rape of Lucrece, he poured all his love for lyrical beauty and the command of rhymes, while his plays cover and indeed go beyond every dramatic classification. Hitherto known national history, tragedy, comedy, romances, fairy plays, but these categories do not suffice to show the variety of even his early plays. The word comedy includes plays so different as Love's Labor Lost and Comedy of Errors, one being a fantasy consisting of sparkling dialogues, fireworks, wordplay, and the other being a farce with an involved plot. No two of his dramas of English history have the same shape or like a movement. His great tragedies, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth and Hamlet are differentiated by such astonishing variety of kind, presentation, and the dramatic movement that hardly any one of formula fits them all. The diversity is to be found everywhere in Shakespeare drama. He shows equal aptitude to the tragic and the comic, the sentimental and the burlesque, lyrical fantasy and the character study, portraits of woman and of man. Besides his variety, Shakespeare's capital gift was certainly that he could depict characters, both historically and imaginary, with a surpassing vividness. This power he wielded easily, naturally, spontaneously, and without ever giving an impression of effort. From the beginning, there is life in all his characters, but as he advanced towards maturity, his characterization came to be more boldly outlined and more complex. His characters differ in sex, age, state of life, virtues, vices, but all of them are alike in being alive. Their parts may be short, they may have to speak only some 20 lines of the verse, but they are made unforgettable. He created a multitude of living characters such as have never been created by any other writer. His characters are at once living and true, whether good or bad, whether moving among the realities of history or among the most romantic happenings. His character possesses an unfailing humility and humanity and a striking realism. Rosalind, Portia, Juliet, Cleopatra, Caesar, Brutus, Orlando, Shylock, Falstaff, Touchstone, not to mention the great tragic heroes. Indeed, the catalogue is endless. Shakespeare's drama is as much epical as romantic. His six dramas of English history and three Roman tragedies, together with Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth, which are based on legendary chronicles accepted as genuine history by him and his public. From such a whole as is found genuine history by him and the public nowhere else and constitute the solid blue mark of Shakespeare drama. The play devoted to the national history most plainly connected his work with the old religious drama, of which the original object was not mere pleasure but instruction and the moral improvement. His theme in these historical plays is countryside of faith. He imparts knowledge of history as those old poets taught religion. These plays are a continuous history of England over a long period, the whole 15th century, foreign war with its triumphs and disastrous years of prosperity and misery, glory, shame, and princes heroic and mean, all succeed each other in his plays painted impartially for a public enabled at once to marvel and to learn. Shakespeare keeps this breath when he leaves London for Rome. Although no longer inspired by patriotism, he is inspired by the great names of the ancient times, such as Coriolanus, Brutus, Julius Caesar, Antony, Cleopatra. His first care still is to breathe new life into famous men and great events. He succeeds in representing the past with the human truth so deep, with life so intense that his work has become complementary to that of the research scholars. With him, historical drama reached its climax in such sense as that in which the Roman mob, after applauding Brutus, is almost immediately turned against him by the moving eloquence of Antony, so that the men weep at the sight of Caesar's body and cry out death to the conspirations. It would be wrong to identify Shakespeare with any of his characters. His supremacy lies in this that he could see and understand so much of life, could pierce the heart so many passions without feeling a prey to any aspect of life, so that we say of him that is universal. We dare not to say what was his personality. Every phase of feeling lay within the scope of the Shakespeare's understanding and sympathy. There is no point of morals, of philosophy, of conduct of life that he has not touched upon. No mystery of human nature that he has not penetrated. Life and death, love, wealth, poverty, the prizes of life, the way we gain them, give them, the character of men and the influences and the forces which affect them. On all these questions, Shakespeare has enriched the world with his thoughts. In his play, we find the pure myth, bright, tender fancy, airy style, ardent passion, questioning into the deep and the terrible mysteries of life. In almost every play, we have the most diverse elements the high and the low, the great and the little, the noble and the base, the sad and the merry, brought under the dominance of the one dramatic purpose. In Johnson's words, Shakespeare was not of an age, but of all times. So astonishingly widespread is his glory that it might also be accepting all of life, rejecting nothing, uniting the real and the poetic, appealing to the most various men, to a rude workman as to a wit. Shakespeare's drama is a great river of life and beauty. Another element of the greatness of Shakespeare is the perfect naturalness of his dialogue. Shakespeare is a master of dramatic dialogue. As De Quincey says, every form of natural interpretation, every form of hasty interrogative and ardent reiteration when a question has been evaded, every form of scornful repetition of the hostile words, every impatient continuation of the hostile statement, in short, all modes formulated by which anger, hurry, irritation, scorn, impassion, excitements are expressed. These are plentiful in Shakespeare's dialogue as in life itself, and how much they can add to the realistic effect of his drama is quite evident. Shakespeare had an amazing genius for words. He shows unrivaled powers of expression, the beauty of words, the aptness and the originality of phrases, the wealth of striking similes and metaphors, the felicities of language, the richness and the sweetness of verse. These are found in his plays to an astonishing degree. There is on every occasion such a multitudinous flow of words, images from Shakespeare's mind, as nothing seems able to stop. Indeed, the foremost dramatist of his age was also the foremost poet. The union of dramatic and lyric elements in the plays is perfect, absolute, and beyond its analysis. Beauty comes of the perfection of the style and the versification, the variety of the images, the accompanying music. There is a triumphant blending of words, metaphors, lyrical passion, as we can say in his blank verse, and the capital scenes of the great tragedies. The dialogue of Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet's soliloquies, the scene of the awakening of Othello's jealousy, of Lear's passionate railing, or Macbeth's hallucination. Shakespeare's mystery of the grand style is unmistakable. Shakespeare possessed in a superlative degree the faculty of compressing thought into language so memorable and so final that he is the most often quoted of all English writers. Indeed, his command over the resources of the language was unique. His vocabulary runs to some extent 5,000 words, while that of the Milton contains scarcely more than half that number. That was all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay connected for more literary videos. Me, Fairy, signing out from the Literary Nook by Fairy.